Hi, Jennifer. Tonight we're going to go through your terms of service and privacy policy. So that being said, I think you did a great job with describing your tool. Canva is a great option. I'm really glad you selected it. As far as your application to your tool, you picked one example. So for example, you said like an introductory PowerPoint or slide, very similar to what we did for our class. That's a great application, but that's only one application of the tool. In order to hit that target, we're looking for multiple applications for students. So maybe that's creating a bookmark to represent the latest book that they've read. Maybe it's creating a poster or an infographic to represent data for a science fair. Give me multiple ways that you could use this one tool and we would be right on target. So we did miss a couple of points there, so you'll end up with 17 out of 20 points for that area. Next up was your analysis of SIPA. And one of the things that I noticed is you did a great job of grabbing those chunks of text out of the terms of service and privacy policy. But I also want you to think about the classroom applications. So for example, you did mention the idea of having one classroom account. And so something like that, maybe it would work in elementary when you've got between 17 and maybe 20 kids in your classroom. I was a middle school teacher. I would have 172 kids in my class. One username and password would not cut it. And more than that, I couldn't trust 172 kids to get into one account and not mess with each other's stuff. So I want you to think through those classroom components. What would work for elementary? What maybe would work for middle school? How would high school use this? Would it be okay? So really add those rich details and think through, what does this look like in the classroom if this is the route we need to take? Next up, with your COPA compliance, we missed a couple of points again because we really want to consider those classroom aspects. How would you apply the things that you're proposing in the classroom and how would you make it work? Next up was your visual representation, and we landed in that approaching target area, mostly because with an infographic, you want the pictures and the text to have a great balance and connect with one another. Your infographic was really text heavy, and the pictures somehow seemed a little disjointed. So, for example, down here where it says students of all ages are allowed to use Canva, however, students 13 and younger must have parent or teacher supervision while using the website. So for this, if you were creating an infographic rather than just a poster, with an infographic, you would want to visually represent that. So maybe you've got two students, one has an age of 13, one has an age of 18. You could give one a thumbs up and one a thumbs down. You want to represent this information in a graphic way. So we did hit that approaching target. We were looking for those detailed, creative graphics. So that being said, you'll notice a few points off in this area. And then finally with presentation, we were an approaching target as well for your APA citations. So as I took a look at your APA citations, there were a couple of issues. First of all, you want to have this at the top of the page. It was kind of an interesting formatting, but I didn't take it off any points for that. That's just me being OCD. But there were a couple of APA citation errors. The first of which I saw was in your title, when you're using your title as the first line, you want to capitalize the first word and then everything else is lowercase. So use, used, policy, 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 and use should all be lowercase. The only exception is if one of those second, third, fourth, fifth, so on, words is a proper noun. So for example, if it said terms of use for Canva, Canva is a proper noun because it's the name of a business. Canva would be uppercase. So I did take off a point for that. Next up, you need periods after each of these pieces here, and then you need to have retrieved and then have your URL. So I did take off a point for each error, so the capitalization, the period, and then the retrieve. The reason why is because I know it seems really persnickety, but professors will take off for it, and I want to make sure that I do my due diligence in teaching you how to do the proper way for an APA citation. So that being said, there are lots of APA citation generators out there. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they could be a good option for you. You also want to make sure that you use a period, not a comma, after each of your titles. So that being said, you received an 81% on your assignment. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know.